Alright, the other thing is the text for these widgets isn't updating for the stat text. Let's go take a look at that. I think this condition's getting grabbed at the wrong time in the graph. For a moment, you thought I wore a power glove. Yeah, I'm that ridiculous. No, I wear gloves when I program. Mainly because I'm a weirdo, but basically has to do with. Man, I hate the for loops with breaks on here. Because that arrow just looks so stupid. So the problem is the condition isn't getting set correctly here. So what we need is basically any condition not met, and then it grabs the condition. So let's see, this is get next tier conditions. So it's basically if we go into this zone over here, we need to update our condition text again. Let me see, can I simplify some of this? Like if I do a sequence node here, then I can just do that condition and then do the text here. Alright, so we need to reset the text if we get to the next tier. We need to find our next tier's condition and set that properly. Is this all for the UI? Warmth does make the hands less strained. It's also like a psychological trigger sort of thing where it's like if you're wearing the gloves, you're working on stuff. So it helps me focus, especially if when you're kind of working remotely and things like that, it can be hard to kind of get yourself into work mode. So I got little things like that that I try to do. Yeah, this is the all this trash here is just a whole bunch of stuff for this little tiny widget here, which has lots of animations, and it's got basically, it handles stat tracking, so it'll update whenever like a stat that's being tracked for the mission is updated, and it's got a whole bunch of different rank images and animations and shit that play. So, you know, it's got a bit of logic in there to figure out what the hell is going on. I need to make a function here which is get condition, get an update next condition. Update tier condition. So I should be able to take some of this trash out of here. Yeah, when you say light table, I am not super familiar with that, so you'll have to enlighten me. Any conditions not met. Alright. I'm also not on the latest Unreal 4. I'm on 4.16, and they're like 4.18 or 19 right now, so it's basically smaller boxes of code that are displayed as, yeah. The design for a lot of this reminds me of giving, bright, colorful objects to kids for them to play with, So it's like, oh, look, there's this shiny Fisher Price, buttons and bullshit. It's all nice and looks like pieces of candy, all over the place. It's so easy and nice to use. Yeah. But now you're just managing wires and spaghetti that look like candy. Doesn't change that it's still wires. Sometimes a more Spartan just wire works better. Alright, so what we want to look for is that the text for the jumps there updates immediately. And it looks like it's updating immediately. Excellent. And all this UI is pretty much placeholder. We're switching it all over, so a lot of the stupid, crappy animation stuff there with like the little head, that's all just stuff I put in there that the artist needs to go change, and I've made it all purposely look bad, so they'll know which pieces are bad. Excellent, so we go to this, we say continue. Excellent. Alright, so I'm gonna add something to this screen. I don't know, does Adam have these things checked out? Let me see what's pending. I mean, supposedly I've got all the filters here set, so I should see if Adam has a change list out. But I don't see anything checked out for the missions. Let me see. When was the last check-in? The last check-in was yesterday at 2 in the morning. I know he's got these checked out, so I think it's Perforce just lying to me. Oh no, he does have them checked out. He's got the post-stage and the pre-stage checked out. Doesn't look like he has the post-mission screen checked out though, so I'm free to edit that a little bit. Looks like he's already going to get some issues with merging, but those shouldn't be too bad. I hope. Alright, so post-mission, the issue with this screen is there's really no indication that you won. It's like, congratulations, you won. Where do we say that? Nowhere is where. So I'm just going to add a completely new sort of thing on there that I'm going to just put on the top of all this trash. So the only way you actually get here to this mission screen is if you have one. So post mission, alright, so position, absolute, middle content is not what we want. We want this right there. Alright, so width, let's just do 50 vmin, height 50 vmin, left negative 25 vmin, top minus 25 vmin, and we'll just have a background color of red. Okay, so that's the thing. So let's get a victory image. What do we have in here right now for these guys? We just have the big completed check mark. Maybe I should make a new thing. Thank you for following Mind Rage. Hello, Devil23. What's up? More mission work, sir. I'm just messing with the things. So I'm thinking like a 256 by 256 image. I'm gonna have this one be called PM Victory. I like his accolade stuff here. And I like the fat sack. Let me see. You just watched a couple hours of sports, so you need a detox. You need a detox. What sports are even going on right now? Oh man, the Cavs and the Celtics played today, and the Celtics won. Isn't Kyrie Irving on the Celtics, and he left the Cavs this past year, and they blew him out? Shit, LeBron's got to be pissed. Yeah, the Celtics waxed LeBron. Yeah, like playoff LeBron needs to show back up. Shit. Kyrie is injured and done for the season. He didn't even play? Shit. I should have paid attention. Devil 23 is from Boston. Oh, shit. Well, I gotta say, I'm rooting for the Cavs because one of my friends is from Cleveland and he's really into it. So I have to be for them because he's from there. But it's always good to see an actual good game. Like unfollow, yeah, get the fuck out of here. I'm more concerned with just having a good game on it's entertaining to watch. But the Cavs have that thing basically where either like the team is rocking and doing what they're doing, or they're just like they're really good at losing in really pathetic ways where like where people just stop fucking trying and you're just like, are you for real? Like, come on, guys. So I'm just gonna try my hand at awful Photoshop here. What else have we got? When Polo gets intense, oh boy. The Celtics are the Celtics. The Celtics will always be the Celtics. By the way, if you may pick my program, yeah, if you got a question, go for it. I try to answer to the best of my abilities, or provide at least an opinion that upsets somebody. I try to do that a lot too. That I find entertaining. What's a good... I think Game has some good stuff. Let's let's snag something from here. Let's snag this guy. See if I can clean this up at all. Have you heard of blah? Why is it censored? Yeah, just PM me the link. And I can take a look at it. Or just say what you're linking and I can just go Google it or whatever, right? But I definitely have disabled links because Twitch chat sometimes likes to post racist things. And by sometimes, I mean all the time. If you're wondering why I'm using Paint.net instead of Photoshop, it's because I don't care about anything in my life and I've made horrible decisions and I'm okay with that. Codefights.com. I've heard about it, but I have never actually looked at it. Practice programming with Codefights. So what is this? Practice for interviews using real questions, need to know topics, get matched with hiring partners, ready for a job. So it's basically interview training, and well, that's cool. So basically they have you, basically it's kind of like what we had in college, but actually like nicely set up. One of the teachers had online tools where you could submit your code, and if it ran, it would tell you your grade based on how well the code performed. Like it would grab your code, compile it, run it locally, and then just like spit out like if this is your final submission, you get 80%. You get a B for this assignment, and that was always cool. Because paying for shit, yeah, exactly. You see, my drawing tool of choice is PowerPoint. I think PowerPoint is one of the best drawing programs of all time. Mainly because that's all I had in middle school to occupy myself when I was bored, is drawing little stupid things in PowerPoint and then animating them killing each other. And the librarians couldn't uninstall fucking PowerPoint from the library computers, so they were always just really upset about it. And that was exactly what my intention was. But it seems pretty cool. Like, yeah, you definitely learn a lot from that sort of thing. Interview coding is definitely a skill. Being able to concentrate while under the clock and not have your little safe space with your coffee or whatever you do to kind of slow down and concentrate on the job. Because a lot of people, like, you put them in a high stress situation, and even if they're perfectly good programmers or whatever, they just can't get it together. Some people are just awful at interviews. Like one guy at Molten Games, this guy Kevin, real quiet guy, and they interviewed him, and because there were people who knew him at that company that had got him to come in for the interview, and like the people interviewing him were like, "Dude, this guy sucks. Like this guy is awful," and all this stuff. And of course, we hired him because friends were just like, fucking hire this guy, or like I quit. He's just bad at interviews. And then of course he was great. But getting your foot in the door is damned hard sometimes. me see, I drop that. The first job you appreciate was as a Marine. Let's see. School's a 4-year struggle high. CS 1.6 in Age of Empire. Oh yeah, Jesus. High school was great because we got Half-Life on. We had like the one cool teacher who would let us do whatever the hell we wanted. And we got Half-Life running on like basically 16 machines, and that was a lot of time at lunch. That was great. Lift stuff and kill shit. Fucking simple. Awesome. The school IT guy and librarian who were both gamers. The students won. Yeah, we took down like all the network because we're playing Half-Life on the school district computers and all that stuff. It was good times, especially back in elementary school before there was any like admin control stuff on any machine, so you could just do whatever the hell you wanted because everybody was admin. So do you got any tips to keep away from a bad circle of refactoring? I think I've tried to remake my game engine for the 6th time now. A really good way to not get trapped into the circle of I have to go make this better, or I can always, there's always something you can do that will help solve problems, etc. You can always make something better. That's part of why coding is so much fun, is because you can always do a better job and all that sort of stuff. So to keep away from a bad circle of refactoring, usually what I say, there are 2 types of people. There are people who know how to work on games, and there are people who know how to ship games. And there's definitely, I see a lot of people that will fall into the trap of working on games where they're very good at continually improving systems and making complex stuff and making very valuable contributions to a game team, but they don't actually get it any closer to shipping. And then there are people who are good at shipping games, and sometimes those people are horrible for a project. Like they'll have somebody come in there and write a whole shitload of bugs, but they'll finish the mission system, or they'll get something. They'll actually get the game closer to shipping, even if they they take out a couple walls while they're doing it and, injure a few comrades. And what I found is having deadlines that you stick to, and also being able to fail at stuff. So have good, hard deadlines, but also miss deadlines appropriately. So like if you're building a system and it's supposed to be done by the end of the month, try to get it done by the end of the month. But also, if it's really screwed up and you need to fix it, fail the deadline. But actually go through the process of failure without like making people feel bad about it. Failure is a pretty good thing. Because you can learn a lot and do, you can actually solve problems. Like be like, why did we fuck all this up, guys? We were supposed to be the smart people here. So I'd say hard deadlines, try to hit them, and then have a good failure process for solving those problems. The deadlines will make it so that you actually have to get stuff done, which pushes people to actually, finish work on things. And then being able to fail on things makes it so you can actually go back and fix things that blow up. Forgot no links. Keep it simple, stupid. There's a time and a place for keeping it simple. And it's most of the time. Alright, so we want victory pane, and then we want victory pane image. So... So border radius on this, let's make this You're trying to work on a multi-threading pipeline, but you feel like you found something you just can't. You feel like you found something you can settle on now. So working on a performance profiler at the moment before writing more code. An endless circle of refactoring. I mean, I've worked on teams where that was a massive problem, where people, like at the end of. We finished Dragon Age Legends, and we're starting to work on some Mass Effect titles that were canceled. And the team, basically the engineers after Dragon Age Legends, and Dragon Age Legends was a shit show in terms of code quality, were like, okay, we're going to do things right. So they spent like 4 months, making a new engine and all this new stuff. And at the end of it, they had like a colored square in a web window, and if you clicked in it, it would load another, colored square dynamically and have all this modules and code protection, all this cool loading shit. But really, at the end of the day, they were just showing to the vice president that you could, like, all right, the top minds in the studio have done this over the last half year. We can load orange squares and blue squares in a window in any browser. And the guy's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Needless to say, that project got canceled, and that was a large part of it. The moral of the story being, it's just really, really important to actually have a true deliverable and to get stuff done. And the other thing would be have a customer, right? Like, how come this... Alright, let's see. What do I need to do to have this thing disappear forever? CSS, animation, make invisible. I think it's the animation fill mode or something. Is that what it needs to be? Yeah. So 35. There we go. I'm just kind of tinkering around today. I'm not really trying to do a whole hell of a lot of work or do anything super amazing. Organization is key. Customers or testers in the early stage? Pretty much. Yeah. Let me think. Pretty much how I've seen successful projects work is they build up momentum by consistently having deliverables, and I've seen projects that have long quiet periods of nothing delivered that's visible, even if they're delivering lots and lots of good technology. Like really impressive stuff too. Like, oh man, we've made this big telemetry system that can answer, can backfill data and fix errors and use all this crazy stuff to do amazing, information gathering. It doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is that I guess I've got so many projects where stuff's been canceled or, because I was in charge of a lot of, pretty much after the first year, I was in charge of the team that I was on. And just seeing all the stuff that gets canceled for reasons that are completely out of people's control, like at EA or something, it'd be like, market research says people in Germany don't like action figures, so your game's canceled. And you're just like, well, shit. It's like, yeah, it's a fun game, but people in Germany aren't going to play it, so keep walking. It's just like, well, damn. So let's see what this looks like in the game. Looks like it could be more centered on the screen. And artist man can come by and make this cooler. Yeah, so I think it's important to always have a customer and always deliver stuff consistently. So there has to be visual progress every single sprint or whatever. And I would recommend doing sprints. Like basically every month there has to be an improvement. And it's really important to do that. Even if it's something super simple, like we improved, we fixed, the text looks better on the loading screen. That can be enough for visual improvement for, people to realize what you're doing and stuff like that. Alright, so I need wall jumps. Alright, pre-mission screen, we have load, and we have... Alright, I'll just change this back to start, because I think that's probably better. Alright. Let me see, do we have a locked description for missions? Let's see, training. We have a locked name, but we don't have a locked description. I think I need to add a locked description and put that in there, because what I want to do is when we click on this, it should say something like complete missions, you know. Alright, so let's add that. Alright, remove frames, order of categories. Let's add a locked description to missions. Still developing a lot of systems I need in place before starting developing. Going for a private MMO sandbox with RTS controls with in-game gates to other servers. The idea of making something like a Warcraft 3 world map. Say a lot, apparently. Yeah, that's pretty much how I've done development. Like, the first thing I'll do with with making a system is I will build all the utility libraries that I'll need. And it's kind of language specific, so one of the first things I did when I picked up Unreal is I was like, alright, let's go make our file utilities, you know, like let's make all the functions that deal with files and, you know, get folders and read shit and do hashing and loading and crazy crap. And it's like, all right, let's also make the threading library for everything. So let's make some nice, you know, thread queues and, you know, make sure we have all our sleep methods and weights and blah crap. And then time and things like command line, math stuff, and then basic networking. You got to start with that, otherwise, you know, you'll be in the middle of some gameplay feature and just be like, all right, well, the first thing I got to do is I got to shave this giant yak, which is the file system, and it's a very hairy yak, and that can be real frustrating and derail you. So yeah, definitely, I think you're on the right track. All right, so I need to add to my game objects. Let's also reconcile that directory. I added this to the missions directory with PM Victory. That's an interesting idea, though, making your own MMO with... I mean, it sounds a bit like you're making a big, complicated monster in order to experiment with a lot of technology. Which is, it's good to make something where you experiment and learn a whole bunch of shit. But if you're going for, like, I'm going to use a whole bunch of experimental stuff all at once, I would recommend not experimenting with everything all at the same time. But that's kind of a big... The idea is pretty developed. Alright, alright. Sounds like you know what you're doing then. I'd have to think about it more. Alright, so objects. Services, definitions, objects. Alright, so we need our locked description. Well, see, I don't know. When you say things like that, when you say like you're beginning working on a game and you know everything that you want, and you've designed everything, um, it concerns me because every time I've been working on a game project, we find something else that's fun. So, like when we're working on something, somebody will throw in some random numbers, and all of a sudden you're like, "Holy shit, this is a lot of fun. I like this new thing that we just discovered." So if your design doesn't allow for the game development process to surface fun, new, interesting things that you didn't expect, I think you're missing an opportunity. But so usually I try to err on the side of keeping flexible. But I guess that may also be because of my experiences really working on teams around 60 in size, right? So I've never been in charge of the entire design. I'm more in charge of, like a team of, 6 to 15 engineers or something. So, of course, I would say, well, it's more important to be flexible because, well, all of my experience is where, the designers will come up with some new shit that everybody has to go make work. So, flexibility is obviously the right call because you need to be flexible because it's not your job to make the design, it's their job to make the design. So you need systems that can accommodate their weekend drunken idea. So lock description there, and let's go change our tool for exporting these guys to actually check the lock description as well for the mission. Mission.name, stages, objectives, locked name, unlocked name. Do we have a description? We don't have anything here for the description. Alright, well I should definitely add an error here. The mission must have a description. Must have a locked description. Well, get this working here in a minute. Yeah, signal systems. Yeah, very good. Sort of goal sense is supposed to be a world editor kind of thing. So is the idea basically that you're developing an MMO sandbox, so basically a massive multiplayer online game where people create their own small areas, kind of like a whole bunch of Minecraft servers stitched together, and then RTS controls, so something where you're creating a sandbox. Is this like an actual sandbox where you can like drag in a house and then drag in a bear and then drag in a person and then the bear eats the person and then lives in the house? Or is it the other way around? Is that the sort of thing you mean by sandbox and world editor? That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Because it would sound like agents in a world you can make and interact with. And it's an interesting idea. I'm going to make the bear apocalypse world, which is going to open a gateway to your nice little happy planet full of people that are squishy and easily consumed by bears. The bear dimension will get you. Just what you wait. So I'm going to need to go through, I need to add it to the UI, so the mission selection screen. You haven't yet unlocked this mission. Alright. I'm going to put an ID here and say this is mission selection, details, locked text. And where is the mission selection screen? Alright, so if we click on this, it has nothing in here. So I need to go to gameplay, right? Dashkin, Y. I think it's in gameplay. Training levels. You need to complete mission X in category Y to unlock this mission. This is just some of the debug data that we have. Alright, so if I go to my locked screen, it says you need to complete mission X. Alright, cool. Well, it's more game mode. It's more for game modes and custom entities and all that. It's meant to have some consistency. Universe there is more like a dream space kind of thing, with each world as its own realm. You have your own private realm, which contains your own characters. Alright, very cool. Anything with online games and online systems can be pretty complicated. Like, as soon as I think about online spaces like that, I think of stuff like, Half-Life, where people using any sort of content creation tools can make things that are awful. Like, just look at Smash Brothers, and they have the Wii the Miiverse stage or whatever, where people can draw pictures on their Wii U's and they get sent into the backgrounds for other people's things. I remember we were playing this game at lunch. We were playing the Miiverse stage, and it was the day that Star Wars: The Force Awakens was released, so we were all going to the movie later that day. And during lunch, spoilers if you haven't seen Star Wars 7, that came out years ago. But somebody drew a picture of Han Solo dying and put that in the fucking background, and it was just like it was really funny because I read it but didn't process it. I was like, Han Solo dies, huh? And while we're playing, and then like one of the guys in the background, like after 5 seconds, goes, "God damn it!" Just like puts the controller down and walks out. It was great.